Hey, what's up, Next Level crew? Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Next. And today we have a great episode. We're going to be talking about the topic of going from paycheck to purpose.
Welcome to What's Your Next. This is the go-to podcast for aspiring business owners who want to get to the next level, escape the rat race, and give their middle finger to the corporate 9-to-5. If you want financial freedom, work-life balance, and the business of your dreams, you're in the right place. Dave and Stacy Riska, husband-wife franchising duo, openly share their successes, failures, and lessons learned in franchising, business ownership, and working with your spouse.
So let's get into it, Stacy. You work with a lot of professionals that are at crossroads in their careers. What's the real story behind the shift from chasing a paycheck to seeking something more meaningful?
Right. Paycheck to purpose. Look, it's in the headlines that we're all seeing every single day. Dave, you and I, we talk to a lot of candidates every single day. And I think there's a consistent message of what we're hearing. People are feeling stuck. They're disillusioned. They're frustrated. They feel like they're working so hard, but building somebody else's wealth instead of their own. And so what they're doing is they're chasing a paycheck. What they really want is something that's more lifestyle driven.
Exactly, Stacy. What a great term. We'll call it the lifestyle squeeze, right?
That's a great name. That's what we call it, the lifestyle squeeze.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about what is going on out there today. You know, what's happening out there in the corporate world. And, you know, a lot of the people that I, speak with and interact with, both online and, in our conversations, they're, as you said, they're frustrated, burnout, extremely burnout, meaning that in most cases, some of them, they've had layoffs at their company. So they're working not just their job, but somebody else's job. And they feel now that they are stuck in that there is no upward mobility for them, with all this going on, the layoffs going on, and really just filling the gap for anybody, for almost anything that they are being asked to do. So, franchising gives you something that you can take and run with. It gives you flexibility, and it gives you a roadmap to build a business with somebody else's plan. And that's huge, especially when people feel like they're a cog, meaning that, they're in this machine and they're just running like a hamster wheel. What do you think about making that transition for somebody who's in that particular scenario to a lifestyle type of business?
There are a lot of options out there. And you're right, Dave. Every day in the headlines, you just see it. Another company is having layoffs. And a lot of the people that I interact with online as well, it seems like so many of their profiles are now #open to work. And so you're right, franchising is a great option for people to consider because you're not starting from scratch, you're getting a proven system. You have the tools, the technology, the support all around you. So you're not going to be a cog in a wheel. But from going from paycheck to purpose, you can choose a business that's going to mesh and meld with what's important to you in a lifestyle. And that's what Dave and I do. When we're doing our matchmaking, it's not so much about the business, like you come and tell us you love donuts, so we're going to match you to a donut franchise. No, we actually reverse engineer it. It starts with you. What are your goals? What's important to you? What does lifestyle mean? And from there, we're doing matchmaking businesses that match. There's so many options. Home-based, semi-absentee, some that have an executive model. There's everything in the gamut. So if you might be thinking now, I might be curious about owning a business, But don't start with the business in mind. Start with what's important to you, and then we can match you to businesses that would be a good fit.
Absolutely. So let me recap that. So you're not just helping people find a business opportunity, you're helping people find themselves.
Yeah, we're kind of like therapists.
Yeah. And most people, if they're coming out of a corporate environment, it's a transition for them. They've in a lot of cases never thought like this before, that they could have something that they could run and control and have a lifestyle or a life outside of where they work. This all sounds great, Stacy, that this opportunity exists, but let's face it, it's not an easy leap for a lot of people that are in this scenario, right? So tell us about, what are some of the resistances people are going to have if they're even considering something like this?
No, we've never experienced it. Look, there's going to be this 4-letter word called fear, and everybody goes through it when they're considering business ownership. And look, you're going to make every excuse in the book for why you couldn't or shouldn't do it. And you're going to be questioning, well, what if I fail? I don't have entrepreneurial spirit. I don't want to risk everything. You're going to make all these excuses. And I'm here to give you your bitch slap moment, because #you got this. That's the point of a franchise, is they're going to support you. If you can follow a process and a system, then you can be successful as a franchise owner. So look, you don't have to go in all at once. You can just be open to learning and exploring at this point. You don't have to raise your hand and say, I want to buy a business and do it tomorrow. Actually, with us, it's usually a much longer process. Even people who do it quickly, at a minimum, it's 90 days. So you don't have to give up your paycheck tomorrow. We just encourage you to be open to learning and exploring, because I want to challenge you that, look, fear is going to happen, but look at the other side of it. What if you don't make a change? Are you going to be happy being stuck where you are in your current situation for the rest of your life? I mean, there is definitely a risk to staying stuck. So think about that and what you would do. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the definition of insanity. I hate to say it, but if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're probably not going to get a different result.
Right.
So, it's really just, what you talked about is so powerful. So if somebody's watching this video today and they're saying, I don't want another job, for whatever the reasons are, but they don't know what else is out there, what would you say to them?
I would say you don't have to have it all figured out. What you have to do is be willing to raise your hand and say, I'm open to learning and exploring. We're going to start by educating you and doing a deep dive. As we said, we're going to put on our therapist hats and understand more about you. What's important to you? What might your life look like a year from now if you were to own a business? And we're going to work backwards to figuring that part out, and then looking forward as into what businesses might be a match. So I would encourage our audience to reach out, grab a time on our calendar. We're happy to have a conversation with you. And don't worry, there's never any cost to talk to us or have us help you in doing the matchmaking. And look, the work that Dave and I do, it's not AI, it's not algorithms. We go out and hand do the research to do the matchmaking to help you find that perfect business of your dreams.
Absolutely. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it, that it is not AI. It's very personalized and very personal, and it's a personal transition. It's not something that probably AI is going to hold your hand through. So that's great place to end today. It's another episode of What's Your Next. If you like our content, please like and subscribe. Click the buttons below. We appreciate you watching, and we thank you for joining us on yet another episode of What's Your Next.